I am the marketing and communication specialist at BBB Cleveland, and we're hosting tonight our junior board masterclass, which we usually do every year. And tonight we're going to be talking about how you can leverage different resources to achieve actionable growth. So here with me, I have four women that are on our junior board. So I'm going to kind of pass the torch over to them so that they can introduce themselves. So Danya, you're up first. So once you're done kind of talking about, your business and kind of how you got to where you are, go ahead and pass the baton next to whoever you can kind of see in your view.
Hi guys, my name is Danya James. The name of my company is International Construction Solutions. We are a construction company that also offers janitorial, landscaping, and snow removal services. We've been in business for over a decade. We primarily focus on city, state, and federal contracting, as well as private corporations. When I first started the business, I started it, I believe, in 2014, and we started off as a janitorial company. I later on expanded to construction, and that's when I made that our primary focus. India?
Hi, India Hobbs here. I am the owner and founder of Home Care Companions and Associates. We are a non-medical home care agency that caters to the needs of senior citizens by helping with their activities for daily living. And yeah, thanks for being here. Excited to answer your questions.
Andrea, go ahead.
Great. Hi, everyone. So my name's Andrea Hossa. I'm a queer indigenous dietitian. My company name is Honest Health and Wellness, and I provide nutrition counseling, mentorship, and public speaking to healthcare professionals, students, and educators. My blend of work goes around decolonizing wellness while we're dismantling diet culture. I focus in Chicago and Cleveland, and all my programming and work is done in English and Spanish, and in my native language, Quechua. So yeah, I welcome to ask me any kind of question, and I'll pass it on.
Perfect. And Darmisha, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Darmisha Alphabet. I'm the owner of the Touch of Tails Cleaning and Detail. We offer commercial, janitorial, landscape and snow removal, and we just added waste management services to our catalog. We've been in business since 2019, and we focus on basically the city of Cleveland for our all of our work that we do.
Perfect. All right, so let's kick it off by asking, why is networking critical for professional and personal development?
Well,
I can answer
I
that.
can. Oh no, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, for me, networking is like the best key because people remember you in small and large spaces just to hear your story and your grind. And you never know what opportunity may arise, and that person that you met 10 years ago can be the person with the key to your success.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. India, what were you going to say?
Networking is it's like the bread and butter. It's half of it's the work you're going to do. The other half of it is the people you know. Networking allows you to open up doors for opportunities. It leads to opportunities for growing your clientele, expanding your business, pivoting your business. It opens your, like, to what Darmisha said, knowledge and sharing and learning. Networking is very important to becoming a successful professional. Your network is your net worth, and not only personally but with your business as well.
Exactly. In today's digital age, do you think that networking is different?
Definitely. when I started in this company, digital was just starting, so that wasn't really like a
Mhm.
big thing to have. Um, but now, as we have grown and the years have grown, also, um, digital is everything. Like
Mhm.
far as social media, far as how you submit your payments, far as everything. I mean, you got to be on top of like the whole AI type of thing. Digital is everything.
Definitely. Definitely. Danye,
I'll
have you
send it on that too.
leveraged? Oh,
Oh,
go ahead, India. Go ahead.
sorry. So I think digital is important too. Like when I first started, I was like thinking, how am I going to reach my clients? I'm in a service-based industry, so I was thinking like direct mailing, which I thought was archaic. And I'm like, no, digital, everybody's using digital now. And you can market, and not only can you reach people in a small geographical area, you can reach people all across the country with the message. If your business is full service, you can reach different counties. One of the first tools I used was Facebook Marketplace, and
Mhm.
it allowed me to target demographics, and it allowed me to reach people that I wouldn't be able to reach through direct mail or that's in my normal network. So I think a lot has changed with your ability to reach. I think digital gives you the opportunity to reach far more people than you would if not.
Exactly. I agree, and I think that kind of networking via social media or any kind of platform that's online is very helpful for people nowadays, unless you're going, and also doing networking events per se. But Danye, how have you leveraged networking opportunities to expand your client base?
I'll say for me, networking has definitely been a very powerful growth engine.
Mhm.
Um, so guys, never underestimate the power of networking. I have joined several organizations such as like the President's Council Business Chamber, um, Goldman Sachs 10,000K program. I've
Mhm.
been able to really use those programs to connect with people throughout all 50 states. I think like when I joined, what was it? Me and Darmisha, we did the Goldman Sachs program together. So
Mhm.
after graduating that program, we had access to over 14,000 graduates. And as well as like the President's Council Business Chamber. I
Mhm.
joined that group. I got a ton of different grants from them. They even called me one day. The director called like, "Hey, Danye, I need you to respond back to that email." So I looked at the email. I had a $15,000 advertising campaign for Spectrum. So I was on every channel. What was it? TNT, Lifetime, ABC. They had everything planned out for me. And I never would have got those opportunities if I wasn't a part of those organizations. So when you join those different groups, like you come in contact with the key players in the industry, you come in contact with new clients, maybe new partners. It can give you the opportunity to join a new market. It's been pretty good for me, and I've been able to leverage it well.
Good. Good. So Andrea, could you share a personal experience where a resource, whether it's a mentor, a tool, or an opportunity, has helped you overcome or challenge or receive success?
Yeah, and I think I can connect kind of like both topics here too. And so I think for me, it's like authenticity, right? Like when we think about even just networking, it sometimes can feel in a day where there's so much AI and all these things. And ironically, the tool I'll provide is an AI tool, but it can start to lose that connection of what feels real, what feels authentic to someone. And so I do think sometimes networking can start to become like, okay, let me just contact all these people. So for me, I know doing public speaking, sometimes going different areas, sometimes it's acknowledging like, how can I make this the more authentic for myself? And so
Mhm.
an example of that is, yes, I can attend healthcare like and wellness conferences, go to hospitals, reach out to a private practice that's therapy or doctor run, whatever, and get a connection. But when I think of myself and just like everyone that I know, at the end of the day, word of mouth is big, right? So when I think about that resource, it's like I remember myself being literally in jury duty and then talking to everyone there and then us just sharing it. And then all of a sudden I got 5 referrals within that month from people saying like, hey, I want to talk. And I was like, how did you get this info? And it was just someone who knew someone. And it was that chemistry teacher at that like one high school that happened to go to jury duty with me. And so sometimes I try to acknowledge like, you know, we're so burnt out. And as business owners, sometimes we're constantly thinking, what else can I do? That the part and the resource I found helpful is like, well, sometimes rest is helpful. And if I'm just authentic and I'm in this cafe in the waiting line, we're at jury duty, and I can bring that connection in, they will remember me as a person now. And like I remember them as a person, and us just exchanging that tool, we can. Now, as a neurodivergent, I am definitely the type of person who will be like, oh, hey, Katie. And then at the end, be like, yeah, just text me or email me if you ever have a client. And then I leave. And then like I'll be at home, be like, shit, I never gave Katie my email or anything. Like I just assumed she had my number. And so as a neurodivergent, I will say a common tool that I use is Hi Hello, which is just a free app. You can pay for it to help you more with networking, connecting, and it allows you to just show a picture on your phone, and it's a QR code, and it can easily send. It'll help you kind of build a platform. So when I meet people, when I'm walking my dog, my therapy corgi dog, she will like, that's how I ended up doing some like intuitive movement for a salsa group. It was my corgi who like bumped into someone at Target and in Cleveland, and the manager knew. I called a certain area in Cleveland not correct because of my pronunciation, and that's what allowed me to kind of build that success. Now, my business is 100% virtual, so even though I do community events, people usually ask, and what other resource helps you in the virtual world? I do use AI tools a lot. It does help me a lot when I think of the CEO kind of searches and all that. I kind of like try to think like I don't believe anyone's an expert. And I believe that, you know, I could spend all this time really learning this, or I can just use an AI tool to help me and work with someone who is okay, like an expert, quote unquote, in this, and then say like, hey, help me on this. So I have used AI tools that kind of just summarize platforms, articles for me, and then that's an easy way for them to then type that into a search, and then it tells me all the local places. And that's kind of ironically how I got into the junior board here. Like it was all from using an AI tool. Someone in the community was like, oh, you're new to Cleveland, you have to go here. Then me just mentioning in that one news spot, I need a headshot, and then someone asking me, and then next thing I know, I'm at this photography art place, and I just got a headshot, met with everyone, and then like now here I am. So I think that's the biggest resource, like yourself, right? Like we can use Hi Hello, we can use AI tools, but then it comes back to just being authentic, because then you will get burnt out. At least for me, I found networking can be very burnt out if it's not being authentic to my end. And so that's kind of like my 2-piece thought there. But yeah, I think that's the kind of like what I've learned as an experience.
That's great. India, I was thinking maybe you could have something else too, another resource, whether that also be a mentor or AI, like Andrea suggested, that helped you overcome a challenge in your business or helped you achieve success.
Yeah, so mentorship and guidance is everything. I mean, everything that we're trying to do is usually something that's been done before. And having a mentorship just kind of makes it easy as a business owner, you know, having a network of people who have been through what you're going through can relate. AI, I'm trying to get on the AI train. We talk about advertising and marketing. So, oh my God, there's a world of resources that are being created daily that help you with marketing and advertising through AI. I was on a social media platform. I think I was on Instagram, and there was one called Captions. And it caught my attention because it was a person who would do advertisement for you. And kind of back to what we were talking before about using digital to network or advertise, it's a lot it's cost effective to promote and advertise online. Um, it's less expensive than your radio ads or your TV commercials. And I was like, oh my God, like I have this thing with not wanting to be the face of the company and not wanting to do a lot of the talking or advertising. So this AI, I thought it was really cool. It's called Captions. And what it does is it creates it looks like a person, but it's an AI generated image. And you can program it to say whatever you want, like a commercial or to market and advertise. And I thought it was genius. Um, so yeah, having a mentor. So the AI part, I haven't tried Caption, so I can't recommend it. I don't know like the kinks or if it works. And I personally don't use any AI right now as far as networking or even advertising at all. But I keep hearing about like Chat GPT, like, you need to write a job description. I'm old school, so, I come from corporate, so I'm used to like sitting behind my desk in my computer and like typing up a job description and going through the making sure the formatting's right in Word. We're past those days. Like, you don't have to do any of that anymore. And it's taken me some time to get out of that. And like, as far as I hear, you go to Chat GPT, just type in job description and in seconds. And I mean, as a business owner, that can be really helpful because it saves you time. I mean, you still want to proofread and go over things, but time is of essence when you're a small business owner. I mean, at the beginning, like I like to call myself the Mad Hatter. We've been in business 3.5, 4 years, but I'm wearing a lot of hats. So if I can write a job description or get some administrative work done in 10 minutes versus 3 hours, I'm here for it. And a mentor actually is something that more than one mentor, I cannot state how important it is to have a mentor. It may not be the easiest thing to find a mentor, but I would encourage you to the points of staying authentic. Figure out what your mission is, what your goal is, what you're trying to accomplish, where you want to go. First, establish organizations. There's a lot of them. You have the SBA, the Small Business Administration. There's a ton of programs set up. You have the Urban League. That's another organization that helps as well. And once you start getting connected to these organizations, you start to learn, as to Diane's point, who runs them, who's also associated with them. Sign up for some of the events, the networking events that these organizations are hosting. Look at the chat, look people up through LinkedIn, see what they do, and feel encouraged to reach out to network and build a community of support.
I would like to add on to what India said. If you guys are looking for a mentor, they have score.org. It's retired business owners that just literally dedicate their time to helping small businesses. Um, if you need, they have accountants, they have people from literally all types of work. And if you don't get someone that's in state that you're looking for, they have mentors throughout the United States. So whether you're in Arizona, they're willing to talk to you on the phone, they're willing to meet you, they're willing to Zoom you, however you want to connect with that person, they'll connect. That's really one of the resources that I used early on in businesses, as well as like the what is that, ECDI, I think. Did you mention that, India? I'm not sure, like
Yeah.
ECDI. And it's one more, I think it's MBAC. MBAC is another great organization that helps a lot of business owners, especially if you're looking for loans. They have all type of loan programs. There was one I seen, it was like up to 1.5 million at 3% interest rate. So they have a ton of different resources for you.
Absolutely. And the state of Ohio, to talk about funding, it's a little like networking. I found out about millions of dollars that the state's trying to give away to minority businesses by being at a networking event. And I want to encourage you, like someone, I've learned how to be an ambivert, but I'm not extroverted. People say, no, I wouldn't believe that, but I'm an introvert. So sometimes you will have a mentor. I've had it happen, and it doesn't work. Don't let that discourage you. Or you may join a network or an organization and it doesn't feel right. That's okay. Don't let that stop you from finding the people that's going to help you grow and advance in your business. And if it's an organization that requires certain things, look at yourself and your business and figure out where you need to go to get there. And sometimes that's not your group, that's not your organization, and that's totally fine. There's like 8 billion something people on the planet. Like, there are people, your people are out there. So feel encouraged to continue to find the right people. And at the end of the day, you still gain experience. And don't also be afraid to, if you run into somebody, chemistry's not there or it's not the right group, you can always ask them, do you know of someone who can help? Do you know of an organization that, is willing to assist? And just keep up on the journey, keep going to networking events. Don't be afraid to call people. Don't be afraid to email people. And then when you're doing so, though, it's important when you network, when you're reaching out, that one, you know what your ask is. Like, why are you reaching out? What are your expectations for this organization? And also making sure that you're presenting value as well, letting them know that you are someone that's going to be able to be a resource to offer solutions and insight. So it's a relationship. It's a mutually beneficial relationship. I used to, when I in my younger days, I would just talk to people like, hey, my name's India, and there was no intention behind it, and it wouldn't go anywhere. So now it's okay to be intentional. Everyone doesn't have a friend. Sometimes you want to know who's who. You want to. You probably heard this. Read the room. Know who's who. Know what they can offer, and don't be afraid to reach out.
I also want to chime in to that. I just finished a program with Jumpstart, and it was 12 weeks and phenomenal. They basically helped me gain confidence of what I'm what my purpose is on running this business. Far as it was like a cake, like basically the all the steps to bake the cake, from the measurements to the decorations to setting it up. I mean, it was everything. And yeah, I knew how to close deals. But what I didn't know how to speak about the deals that I closed and the money that I'm making and how I'm pushing out the money. So I recommend Jumpstart. Also, they gave us a $2,500 award at the end for being part of this program. They also gave us $1,000 award for just giving them a sample pitch of just pitching our business to the world and to individuals that want to be a business owner but just scared. And we were able to tell our story from the struggle to the high, so it gave people basically hope. And they also offer loans to businesses that want to go further in their success.
Darmisha, that's great for mentioning Jumpstart. India, there was something I wanted to circle back with you. You had talked about how, and all of you know this, right? Danya, Andrea, Darmisha, you all know this, how as a entrepreneur, you do wear a lot of hats. And all of you are owners of your businesses, right? So I wanted to touch base on what are some resources that you can use to help almost like outsource some of your things, right? So, for instance, a company will put a job on LinkedIn or Indeed or something, right? Maybe you're not at that step yet. Maybe you kind of are at the step prior to that, hiring somebody. So, what would you recommend to do for kind of getting employees or maybe just even getting assistance for some things? Maybe your business isn't at the level yet to get an employee, right? Maybe you can't afford to hire one yet, but what would you say? And this is for all of you, but I just know that India, you brought up wearing many hats. So I just wanted to, for all the entrepreneurs listening, what would you do to kind of outsource some of those things? Maybe accounting isn't your bread and butter, but you would like
Yeah,
to give that to somebody else.
I'll go first, but I'm sure we all can. I outsource everything. I think when it's no matter where you are in your business, whether you're starting, you're 5 years, 2 years, 1 year, you haven't started, you have to know that at some point to scale, you're going to need to delegate. You can try to wear as many hats as you want to, but to be an effective business owner, you'll have to outsource a lot. So, as far as hiring, I please tell me more. I think I've tried them all. Indeed's one. ZipRecruiter's great. What I like about, and none of these companies pay me. They can if they want, but uh, ZipRecruiter's great. I like it because then you can see the person's resume, and you can use it forever. You can circle back. I've used ZipRecruiter for recruiting people. I've used Care.com for recruiting people. I've used Monster for recruiting people. I do advertising on Facebook Market. I used to do a lot on Facebook. I've gotten away from Facebook. On Instagram, I constantly make sure on our page, our stories, every day we're posting that we're hiring. For accounting and things like payroll, I use Gusto. They're great. I love Gusto. They handle all my payroll, all my direct deposit, all my offer letters. It's convenient. Like I said, these things can be really time consuming, and you have to avoid burnout when you're starting a company, when you're running a company, even with partners. So having things outsourced or using different companies who are better or who are more effective or who can save you some time is effective. So Gusto, I do offer all my payroll, all my offers. Again, as far as trying to find people, I would say every social media platform you can use that. You can post. It starts within your network. That's the most cost effective way. ZipRecruiter, Monster, who else? Indeed. Ohio means jobs. There's a ton of Ohio partners. Ohio's a great state to be in. We really want to make sure people are employed. So Ohio's means jobs is a great resource. I let them know who I'm looking for, what I'm looking for, and they will send me a bunch of people who are eligible. Who else? Ohio means jobs. Yeah, and that's just a few for recruiting. QuickBooks, I use Connect Teams for all my tracking and making sure my employees track when they're clocking in. Yeah, there is a lot of people outsource machines, and I would say don't be afraid to. This is the information age. I don't want to age myself too much, but I grew up. It was like, don't Google that. Google's not a reputable source. Now, you can pretty much find anything on the internet. So, and then there's some. I don't know if you heard, like, there's YouTube University. You can pretty much YouTube anything. So, when you're Googling things, you never really know, like, if somebody's used it before, who's tried it. But if you like go to YouTube, you sometimes get people who are going over tutorials and their experience, so that can be helpful as well. So do your fair amount of research and just research what it takes, what's a good company for recruiting, because there's a ton and ton out there. What's a good company to market and advertise? Again, I advertise again on social media, but I want to start tapping into AI, and that's another thing I want to touch on. We haven't gotten there yet, but it's important that when you are looking at the resources that you're using, that you keep up with the times and what's going on. Like, at first I didn't use like Cash App and stuff and Zelle, and now people want to get paid, and I'm like, no, we're not. Coming from a bank, I'm a banker, so I'm like, we don't, that's not a real thing, that's not professional. Now it is, like, like, now we're selling, and we'll do like a Cash App exception if we need to for someone's pay. So make sure that you're keeping up, and when you are outsourcing, that you're, or using the web or using partners, that you're keeping up with the industry and what other people are doing. Danya, I want to hear from other people because I feel stuff I don't
Okay,
know
I do
about.
have a resource. If once again, I think we already mentioned it, but the Urban League. So I went to the Urban League, I think a few months ago, and they teamed up with another organization called Youth Opportunities Unlimited. They provide you with interns. So if you are at a level where you don't feel like you have the capital or the means to hire someone, reach out to those organizations like that, and they pay for your intern. So they'll give you the money to pay that intern $15 an hour and to work with you throughout the summer, when they're on winter break. So that's always like a great opportunity, and you'll get all type of kids from all different high schools. I think they have like maybe a certain GPA, so you're gonna get some really good kids that's really looking to work.
Yeah, Ohio Job Means definitely. They actually have a program going on for small businesses where they give you grants to take care of payroll also as a small business to help you take care of the payroll, and also workers comp actually have a grant program to help small businesses with funding for different equipment or tools that you may need to get the job done. From
Mhm.
my experience.
Perfect.
And
Uh,
I can just chime in at the end here. Sorry, Katie, go ahead, and we can go in. And I'll just actually add, like, at the end of the day, I also want to scale us back a little bit here and say it's always going to depend where your business is at and what your exit strategy is, what it is you're going to try to like aim for in the future too. So to be honest, like Gusto is great. I recommend that as well. Monster, all these things are great, but it also depends like what are you trying to do, and then think about that. Like really think about it. Like if you're in Cleveland and you really just need a worker, it doesn't make sense to do all these. Maybe just go out to a community job fair and you might find an employee there and you just saved your money so much money. Luckily, I haven't had to use those sources because I've connected with someone who might be able to post for me on their Instagram because I'm not one of those influencer people who will like post. So props to anyone who will like be able to like keep up with posting every day because that is not me. But I know a lot of people who do, and I'll be like, hey, I'm hiring for this. Can you post this on your story for me and see if anyone does? I'm like, yeah, for sure, I got you, girl. And I had a surgeon who she has a lot of followers. She just posted on her story, and just like that, she's like, here's 20 people, here's their emails, here you go. And I'm like, thank you. So I will also encourage, like, I think sometimes when we think about strategies and we come into these sessions, we're thinking like, cool, like what else can I learn from this? What can I gain from this that's going to really help me? What is new? Like what can I basically not Google and I can like really feel like this is where I'm at. So I'm not feeling overwhelmed and I'm not feeling burnt out. And so for me, that always goes back, and this is like I do mentorships. If anyone wants mentorship in business, like if we're doing nutrition, I welcome that to anyone. I like this is something I always tell all my mentees, and I call it mentor to mentor because I genuinely believe that we're constantly both going to be learning and we'll learn from each other. And it's always like trying to be like, how can we be innovative about this? Like, what is going to foster a culture that's going to cause innovation within your own organization, that's going to cause more profit for you, but less work? Because at the end of the day, like, as an entrepreneur, there are going to be different avenues you can go, and depending what your exit strategy is, yes, you may wear a lot of hats and you might have to delegate things, you might have to decide what do I not want to do, but it's important that you can also start your day with your own kind of self-care too. So I found that most successful businesses do come back and gear towards that. And I know that that was also a question in the panel about self-care, so I can talk more about that like later on. But I genuinely believe if we like, a lot of times I get a lot of my mentees, they tell me they wake up and they go straight to their email. They're like straight on their phone. They're straight doing that. And I'm like, sounds like you're burned out. Sounds like you're adding all this shit. You're putting all these things in here and you might be making income, but like, are you able to go on vacation? Are you able to do the things you like? Or is this part of your identity, right? Like what else are we kind of doing to make that balance? And so sometimes if we have to also acknowledge like your to-do list and acknowledge, is it urgent for you? Because if it's not urgent for you, it should be number one. Half the time, 90% or more of emails that are coming in, it's urgent and it's an urgent thing for somebody else. It's not your urgency. So you can take a pause and say, I'll respond to that later. And at the end of the day, if you're finding yourself busy, maybe that's what you hire someone for, to do your personal system for emailing, doing all those things that's an urgency for somebody else. That's not your urgency. And that will kind of slowly allow you to focus on the things that hone into you, allow you to be like, you know what, I want to learn more about CEO. Like, what does that really mean? What does SEO mean? What does it really mean to do this? And then you can hone in better on that. In my experience for nutrition, I can attend all nutrition conferences, healthcare conferences, but I make more clients if I actually can attend an engineering conference, if I actually go out to that concert and I find something. I'm still like having a good time, but I'm also marketing myself. I'm still trying, like, I'll be going on vacation, and so I know how myself is. I'm an introvert and extrovert. I genuinely believe that both can be successful, and I genuinely believe that if we take whatever resource we have, you almost have to hone in on what's you. If you're a person that loves soccer, like, let's figure out how to put that into a way that would market you. And like now when we look about marketing and self-care and navigating, that's the huge part for entrepreneurs. You know, back in the day, we think about like boomers, we just want to make money, we want to retire, everything. Now it's all about like, how can I retire early, but also still live a life? Like, most people are okay with working if they're 50, 60, but not if it's working a job that's like, I don't like this, I'm not even making enough to live. Like, let's face it, we're in a capitalist world. And then as an entrepreneur, no matter how much we say we don't believe or like we want to decolonize or like we want to say no to capitalism, we're part of the problem by already being an entrepreneur. So we genuinely have to acknowledge, like, okay, what do I actually want to take part of? What do I want to actually pay for? And what do I maybe not need that? If your business is less than 10 employees, you can probably get away from just using QuickBooks and probably not even have to use Crypto. So it is important that you look at what resources you're already paying for. You have a website, Squarespace. The Squarespace already has a lot of that SEO AI integrated in it, but you're probably already paying for it. So sometimes it's just like, let me see what's free and reach out to that, and that might be enough. Like, if we don't have time for those one-on-ones, I really will encourage everyone to really think about how do you function as a person, and then look at the resource that might fit you. Because I do think, as me coming in as an entrepreneur, I definitely felt overwhelmed because I am the person, and I definitely was, you know, I graduated at a very young age, like like I was grown, I'm an immigrant, you know, I'm a person of color, we hustle, we do what we gotta do. And there's a point that if you gave me 20 things today, I will look up all those 20 things, I will contact all those 20 things, and I will do my best for it. But long term, you're gonna be burnt out, and it's not gonna give you the profit. And even if you get that profit, you might not be happy with your business, which is why most businesses who start off that way do eventually sell off and are tired and exhausted and find themselves at the end of the day being like, wow, I didn't get time with my kids. So I remind everyone, if you're saying yes to something today in this webinar, remind yourself you're also saying no to something else, because that is going to impact your business, whether you think so or not, whether it's short term or long term. I think that's like what I'll add on there. But Katie, go ahead, ask the question on there. I just genuinely feel like there's so much resources that we definitely could have made this like 2 hours for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. I want to really quick. So definitely. So I love Andrew's point about self-care. I think that's really important when you're starting off. And whether you're starting off or in your business, you have to think about where you're at, what your goals are, and what you're trying to go. If you are just starting a business and you're more on the consulting side, it's more something that you can do on yourself, whether it's consulting or running a company that has 30 employees or more, you still need to prioritize self-care. It is hard not to burn out. Let me tell you this, starting a business and being a small business owner is not easy. It is something that is going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of figuring things out. It's going to take a lot of planning. And through that process, you can't forget about, we're talking about actionable growth here. And if you're not taking care of yourself, it's going to be impossible to grow. However, things have to get done when you're starting a business. So through the process of, you have this idea, right? You're at the starting process. That's one thing. You actually get this idea off the ground. That's another thing. You start the idea, that's another thing. Executing's another thing, and scaling's another. So there's levels and there's stages to owning a business, and it's going to be different for all of us. It's going to be different for all of us, and you don't want to burn out. And that's what I told myself, as being a mom, as being a director, as being a treasurer, as being all these other things, right? Like, I don't want my business not to be fun, because when I came back to Cleveland, it was one of the only things that excited me. Like, oh my God, like this is, I'm going to be impacting people's lives. I'm starting, like, I'm really doing it. I took the leap. But if you do not prioritize self care, if you are, I'm from the generation where, and can, I can tell there's a difference in age, right? Because when I grew up, it's all about, you work, 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 and you work until you get there. And I love how, like, the younger generation, they're like, there has to be some balance, right? Like, I'm not working, working, working. I'm going to prioritize my self-care, but I think there's a balance in that work-life balance, right? Because you can't prioritize yourself too much, because how are things going to get done, especially if you haven't reached a point where you have the necessary team or other people who can delegate for you. That's the whole, and there's this saying, and don't quote me on this exactly, but it's like, spend a few years like most won't, so you can live years like most can't. So maybe in the beginning you are like going and going and going and putting in that work and building that team, right? It's like a train or a car. Once you get that engine going, then you can sit back. Then you can relax, because then you have people to delegate it to. But you don't want to stress. I totally agree. You don't want to stress yourself out. But sometimes in business, that I feel like that's just, it's kind of, going to happen just as you
I
grow
mean,
and
I could
learn.
chime in. We've been grinding for 5 years. Like, we started this company with $20, and we done turned it into $1 million company. You gotta grind. I don't care how tired you is. I don't care hard your, how bad your feet hurting, how bad your fingers hurting, how black the bags is up under your eyes. You gotta grind. I mean, in this industry, there's nothing given to you. It's not going to be given to you. You got to show these people how bad you want this success in order for them to respect what you bring into the table. You can't just come to the table with, a cleaning company, your broom and dustpan, and say, "Oh, I want to be this big time cleaner." No. Or you can't come to the table with, experience of working in the medical field. They want to see what you did. They want to see how you did it. They want to see how you paid for it, and they want you to speak it. And when you speaking it, you got to put 100 on it, because they not gonna, like, these people that's opening up the doors for us for our success. They want to see the tears in your eyes to so they can feel the pain that you felt with being who you are today. This is not easy. Being a boss or an owner or a CEO ain't for everybody. It's not for everybody. And me being on here, I can't sugarcoat it, because I got in this grind and I knew what grind is. I knew what it was. I feel it every day. Every day I'm tired. Every day I'm tired, and I'm running everything, but I have a mission and I have a goal. I have two sons that's looking at this, and I want them to see, regardless of how much money that we making, it's hard work to get this money. And I want you guys to understand that there's nothing given. Just like we're working hard to earn this living, you guys got to work hard to get what I'm giving you. And being in this program is for me to spread the awareness of a hard grind. Plenty of doors was closed on me. Plenty of doors, and I'm sure plenty of more doors gonna be closed on me. But just the fact that I made it to where I'm at from $20, and I can actually speak that lucky $20 bill, and it was only because of the grace of God. Regardless of what I'm doing, I talk to the man upstairs every morning because I'm tired. Every morning, you gotta have faith. If this is what you really want, you gotta have faith that this is what you gonna get.
Yeah.
And for the people that's listening, you gotta have faith. You can't be scared. Sometimes you gotta jump off the porch and think about it after you jump off the porch. Don't think before you jump, think after. Because at least in your heart you can say that at least I tried. And that's the whole motive of being a business owner, is trying. You got to try. If you got the talent and you got the grind and you got the urge, go for it. Sky is the limit.
The sky is the limit.
And if your head hurts, take an aspirin and still take the vacation too, and still eat the ice cream. Still do all
Out
the
of 5 years, this is our first vacation. By the grace of God, I'm able to take my kids on the Disney cruise. I've been wanting to do the Disney cruise. I have a 15-year-old and an 8-year-old, and we've been grinding hard because time don't wait on no one. But my goal was to get them on this boat, and
Yeah.
finally I get to get these kids on this boat. And at least, we might not go again, but hey, we got it one time. They gonna
You
get on
earned
this
it.
boat.
You earned it.
We gonna get on this
You
boat.
earned it.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. I'm going on a Disney cruise for the first time too. I wonder if we're going on the same one. We'll have to talk after. But
We leave
yeah.
next week.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Katie.
We leave next week. That's funny.
Oh, how sweet.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I know we have about like 10-ish minutes left, so I just want to get in a couple more questions. One that I wanted to ask is for those that are watching, I know this is also being recorded, so we'll put this up later on our BBB Cleveland YouTube for everybody wondering. But what are some free resources that entrepreneurs can use? For instance, one I know that helps a lot of entrepreneurs is Canva. So Canva, you can use the free service, and that helps a lot of people, that even people that are really talented at design. But Danya, I can start with you. Is there a free resource that you use that has really helped you? Is there something that you've heard of from another business?
Um, I have QuickBooks, but for my husband company, I use Wave App, and I feel like Wave App is really good, just as good as QuickBooks. So if you can't afford that $100 a month, look into Wave App for accounting. I have used Canva, but I've also used GoDaddy. I think GoDaddy, it's not free, but it's probably about like $25-$30 a month just to put your website up. Those are two things that I've used so far.
India, do
I
you?
use Square. I've been using Square for the last 5 years because it keeps track of how my grind was 5 years ago and where we at now.
Mhm.
For Square also handles my payroll. I've just now got kind of acquainted with QuickBooks because we're actually paying our employees, and a lot of our contracts need invoices, and so I'm still getting familiar with QuickBooks, but I just hired a accountant to handle that. For the last 4 years, I've been the accountant, the bookkeeper, the landscaper, the cleaner, everything, and it's like, whew, all right, I need help. So I end up hiring an accountant. So I really don't handle much anymore when it comes to resources, but having an accountant or a bookkeeper that you can trust on your team is definitely the bullseye. Like,
Exactly.
definitely. It's definitely the
Mm.
bullseye. And they do all that. They do all the resources and all that stuff now.
Perfect.
Yeah, I
India, or
agree. I definitely. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Katie. What were you saying?
no, you're good. I was just saying India or Andrea, if you wanted to chime in on any free
Oh,
resource.
yeah, I can chime in, and I'll just say I agree with what everyone said so far. Those are good ones. I think common ones that we all know, like Google Workspace, is like a given, right? But
Mhm.
there are some like Trello that are helpful if you want everything like in one place. I find that very helpful, and if you want to do more projects and streamline. I've also used Loom, if anyone's familiar with that, and it's just like a video messaging tool that allows you to help. Airtable's another one. It's a flexible cloud-based collaboration tool that combines essentially spreadsheets and databases. So it's really great when you're tracking client management, creating custom business flows. Notion's another very common one. It started off as like a note-taking thing, but now a lot of business use it. Sometimes they replace that as like their actual employee handbook and the going in. So a lot of my own clients who through my mentorship program have used that. Honeybook is another very common, less common, but common, getting more popular again. And it's just a nice tool to kind of have service-based professionals. So it helps with booking, contracts, invoicing, project management, and it just streamlines things for us. I think Wave was already mentioned on here, but again, I did mention I use AI bits, so I will say like Otter. Otter.ai I find very helpful. It's like transcribes meetings. It all started when we thought about accessibility. Sometimes, like myself, I need subtitles, even live, so I can be at a meeting somewhere noisy and I can put that on and I can see exactly what's happening. Surfer CEO is a common one that a lot of my clients use. On the business end, it's an AI-powered SEO tool, and it helps optimize basically all your keywords. It'll analyze it for you, it will create trends for you, and it'll help you get more traffic in. So I think that's very helpful if you're planning to do more than just like you're trying to go Ohio, Illinois, you're trying to go beyond. It really does help. And so that's another very common one. Beautiful AI and PandaDoc are also two other ones that are great. PandaDoc is becoming way more popular. It's an AI-powered document management e-signature platform. It'll just streamline your creating, your sending, your tracking proposals. It can help with that writing end. So I think it's very similar to Jasper if anyone's familiar with those. So those are very helpful when we're thinking about just writing styles and just kind of keeping things in, creating presentations that have that touch and just taking some time and being able to then edit on your own. A lot of them your AI tool too. So those are some that are coming straight to mind. Obviously, there are, like from a research end, if anyone's interested, I can talk about those because when you see different clients from infertility, pregnancy, all these things, so usually that becomes the number one thing that I'm coming in and using to help my business. Like, how can I be more updated while also still marketing, while also still treating clients and doing public speaking events? So I would highly recommend that to anyone. And if anyone does any other kind of language, Squarespace partners with them. But if you go on Squarespace on their language idea, you'll see how Squarespace and most websites, any website that you have, even if you don't use Squarespace, like Wix, for example, they are partners with a lot of AI tools that will definitely help you so that you can start reaching other clients from other languages. And I would only recommend you do it if you genuinely speak the language, because then you might get someone and you're like, this is not helpful. Like I can't do a presentation in French, so this will not. So I definitely recommend that for anyone who's listening to this and does speak more than one language. I would encourage you to look at those platforms because that's like a simple way to kind of leverage it up and make life easy. But I'll pass it on, and then I don't know if we have time for another question or not, but I'm curious if there's any other thoughts too.
Yeah, so my list is totally random. I'm just going to say leverage it like the Cleveland Public Library. You get like free printing, free access to a computer. That's helpful. Leverage all of your social media networks as well, because you can advertise within your network for free. If you're looking for someone who's going to help you organize teams for free 99 for people who have less than 10 employees, Connect Teams. Absolutely amazing app to use. And your government resources, Ohio Means Jobs, that's free. They can put you with a counselor that can help you with hiring. Jumpstart free, ECDI free. So it's free to get connected to these networks. That's going to help you network and become effective in your business. And that's just a few off the top of my head and totally random. But first start with the resources that are in your community that the city, the government offers. And then I want to say too.
By my field being on I'm actually in the city, we're actually walking these grounds I recruit people from 2100. I recruit the homeless. I recruit people who deserve second chances. They can't get second chances because of their background or what have you. So if you're like in the line of duty where you're outside, like landscaping and construction, it's a lot of people that's on pain right now that would love an opportunity. I mean, that's what I do. That's how I recruit individuals. I'm really not on the social media as far as hiring. I'm in the field. I'm in the field every day recruiting people just, because they want $1. I got something for you to do if you want this dollar. You're going to have to work for it. So I put them to work, and a couple of these people then became very close acquaintances of mine from just being a stranger. So that's also a key. Them people out there deserve second chances, and they weren't able to get that second chance, and I give them second chances.
Yeah,
That's
be
good.
intentional too. Be intentional what you do. Make sure you have a game plan for what you do. And I mentioned some organizations. When you go to these organizations, be intentional about what you want from them. Because I have dealt with every organization that was mentioned on here, and I've gotten something different. And somebody else on here has gotten something else. So unless you go to these organizations and you're asking, you letting them know what your needs are, they can best suit you. So, and then again, just be relentless on your pursuit to grow and scale your business, no matter what your network is, and just know that you owe it to yourself and your business to make the right connections, whether you're on the ground, whether you're on social media, whether you're using AI, whether you being with yourself or organization. Use all of it. The more the merrier, and work towards success.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I know that we're like about to hit time soon. So honestly, I also just want to thank you, Katie, and everyone on the board, and like honestly, Ohio, if we really think about this, like, because this chapter wouldn't be here with everything that's happened. So I will encourage that if anyone in this room felt if there was more questions you have and this sparks things, to like always let the junior board know, because at the end of the day, we're constantly building and new things. And I don't, we could probably be here all day. This could become a series. And it just comes back to like, where is everyone at? What would be more helpful? So I will make that as my last comment. Again, you can find me online, Honest Health and Wellness. I'm very similar to how others here in this panel talked about. You usually see me in the community. I have my therapy corgi dog, Estela, that will always be around with us. We will be hosting another event this weekend if anyone's ever interested. And if you're looking at this online, well, then you can just Google me.
Perfect. I wanted to say thank you guys so much to our junior board. So Danya, India, Andrea, and Darnisha, thank you so much. And thank you to all of our participants, everybody that came to attend tonight. I am not known to be on time by any means, but I'm going to try and wrap this up quick so that everybody can carry it on with their night. So I just wanted to mention that we don't endorse any of BBB Cleveland doesn't endorse any of the resources that we mentioned tonight. But we did mention these because obviously they have helped out these 4 people on the junior board, and they could potentially help your business out as well. So none of the things that we've mentioned tonight are endorsed by us, and I just wanted to make that clear. But tomorrow I'll send out an email to those who have attended, and you can see all the resources that have been mentioned tonight. And then lastly, I just want to say that if you're interested in hearing more about BBB and want to meet some other people that work at BBB Cleveland, and even maybe some of the junior board will be there. Next Wednesday, we have an in-person event called Hops and Headshots, and it will be held from 4 to 7 at the Winking Lizard in Bedford Heights. So if you're interested in more information about that, we have our info up on the screen. So you can head over to bbb.org, you can email us, or you can call us at that number to hear more about that. But thank you guys so much for attending, and thank you to our junior board. I hope
Yeah, and
everybody has a
become an
great
accredited business. Sign up. Become a part of the BBB. Become an accredited business. Increase your opportunity to have people um, moderate for you, be in the middle, and yeah, just join us. We're a great organization, so become accredited. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Everyone, have a good night.